All right, guys, we are getting started, and I'm just waiting on Zach. Oh, there he is.
All right.
All right, well, since I had to text you, since you are not very on top of your shit, Zach, I have to get this camera ready again for the Facebook part. But
Oh, I'm on top of my stuff.
you're
You,
not.
on the other hand, are all over the place.
You're not on top of shit.
I'm on top of everything.
Hey, I'm importing these memes. So last night, Britt and I were on the phone,
Uh huh.
and I found this Facebook group or a couple Facebook groups with these memes, dude. Oh, they're so fucking funny. I'm gonna pop some up on the screen when we're live on Facebook to show people. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just reading them to her too. She didn't even. I wasn't even showing her the pictures.
Uh huh.
But
Hey, just FYI, you've got
yeah.
me for about 30 minutes.
All right, Zach.
Just so you know, you.
You're
I mean,
slow
you wanted
ass.
to. You're the one who wanted to figure out all the Facebook Live mess, and I want to be live.
Well, yeah. Why not? We got live shows, Zach. It's
I
live.
hear you. Yeah, we're about as live as a catfish in a, I don't know, on a boat on a grill.
I don't know where you're going with that.
I don't either. Kind of hungry. That's probably where I was going with it.
Oh, you need to not be hungry.
Well, always hungry.
I hear you, dude. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, let's see. We're going live, dude. We're about to do it.
Yeah, do it to it, man.
And then I'm going to rant while we're on live about me being censored on fucking TikTok.
Well, that's what happens nowadays. People get censored when they talk about controversial topics.
For some of these memes, you may have to pull up live on your phone. It's going to be delayed, but at least you'll be able to turn the sound off, though, on it.
I'm just going to let you explain them to me. How about that?
All right. If you say so. I hope everyone can hear you. And I'm not talking like an idiot because we are live for sure right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, we are 100%. Let me just pull up the video on my screen. But we're live, dude. We're doing it. My face is everywhere.
That's sad.
Fuck you. Go ahead and say something for the test, Zach.
Well, testing the double live that we've got going on here.
Well, someone's already checked in and watching it. I don't know if that's me or you or someone else, but
It ain't me.
it's not you.
It's not me. I know
Well,
that.
so I got a fucking rant though. Okay, I posted videos on Facebook. You've seen all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, there's four that are a part of the series, but there's three that blew up. One went freaking crazy viral, more than I ever would have thought. Okay,
It is
but
TikTok.
now so Kyle was like, "Oh, you should put them on TikTok, and you'll get even more views. Like it'll blow up." He said it'll be funny, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know anything about TikTok, so I cut the clips up, put them. I think 7 of them on TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
and I get 30,000 views on the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez joke, like within a couple hours.
Yeah.
I had 1,600 shares of it and however many likes. So I'm like, holy shit, this is easy. Like, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is
You working
easy.
for Staples?
Well, all of a sudden, I get to like 30,000 views and it just stops. All the notifications stop. But the video is
Well,
still up. Then I had
mm,
the other one with the Wheel of Fortune with Joe Biden and his little fuck up he had last weekend, right? That one
Mm-hmm.
got taken down like immediately. I think I had 1,500 views, but I had like 70 something likes on it, but it got taken down immediately.
Mm-hmm.
The AOC one was still up, so I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's no big deal. I mean, but the notifications just stopped. So I click on the video and I notice that the video is muted. And at the bottom, it says the sound had been removed because of violating community rules.
Yeah.
Then, like, I don't know, 10 minutes later, they take that video down.
Well,
I'm
like I
like,
said, that's what happens when you talk about controversial topics.
controversial? What's controversial? It's the
I'm just
worst thing that
saying.
it said was a retard fish butt fucking a monkey, and it made AOC. It's a pretty funny joke. Everyone thought it was funny.
Oh my god.
So, Zach, there's a whole subreddit dedicated to fucking porn on TikTok. I read their community guidelines, and it's like, okay, you know, we don't want like nude people on here. We don't want you know, you showing genitalia or something like, you know, all that stuff, right? But you have
Mm-hmm.
women or girls that are on there shaking their ass, exploiting themselves sexually, that you have other things going on TikTok, but I can't have a video that says retard and referring to an elected official? Like,
I
what
don't
am
know
I
what to tell you
missing?
about that one.
What am I missing here? Facebook fucking allows it. And if Facebook allows it, then why can't TikTok allow it? I'm just saying.
You just
But
saying?
yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, it was funny though. It was a funny joke, and I'm pissed because that shit. It's the first time I've ever had a video that just blew up.
Hmm.
But I got something for their ass coming after this podcast. Saying,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, I got something big coming. At least I think it's funny. That's all that
Of course
matters,
you
right?
do. Of course you do. You think it's all funny.
He said they're in cahoots with China. Yeah, you're fucking right.
Oh good lord.
100%. Like, no, like it really is. Because
I mean, TikTok is a Chinese app. Or Japanese. I forget which one
it's
it is.
Chinese, it's China.
Is it?
Yeah, and they run it like a fucking communist. Think about it. You can easily be an underage girl that lies about her birthday, go on there, shake some ass, make money, right? And they'll never fucking know. But the moment I say that AOC is the offspring of a retard fish that butt fucked a ape, I get fucking censored.
Oh man.
But hey, I'm waiting for Facebook to take down the whole video. I'm just waiting for Facebook to take down the whole video.
What do you
And
mean?
well, I just know they are. Okay, they said that the first video, the first part of it, the first clip where it's the Wheel of Fortune out of South Park, and then it goes
Yeah.
to Biden saying what he said.
Yeah.
Then it has, you know, oh, you can't fix stupid. They took that down immediately, like within 5 minutes, and I had already had over 1,000 views on that clip. They said it violated community standards and that it was hate speech. But the president of the United States is the one that said it. All I did was call him stupid for saying it in the clip. That's all the hate speech there was. He's the one, the president of the United States is the one that said it, not me. I was just showing people what he said.
Showing people what he said in a specific light.
Oh, I was making fun of it. It's a joke. That's what's funny. And what's funny to me is the majority of people like the video. Okay, I on Facebook I almost have 150,000 views on it. 500 comments and almost 5,000 likes. I don't know how many shares. And the majority of people were just rolling out of their chair laughing at the video. But you had
Hmm.
some people that truly got pissed off about it. And then I'm just like, relax. It's a joke. It's just a joke. Brandon is fucking retarded. But
Good Lord.
yeah.
You
Look,
are
we're
something else.
uncensored here. Okay. This is the first live we've done on Facebook. We always do the podcast. It's the first time we've done it live on camera. I hope you can hear both of us. So if you can't, let us know. There should be two people talking and not just my dumbass talking. But yeah, but I want to pull up Zach. I'm gonna show you. Do you have the live video up, Zach?
I do not,
Oh,
because it would mess with my part of the audio.
so I'm gonna pull this up for the people watching. I'm gonna go through some memes that I thought were just fucking hilarious. And this first one is a Pete Buttigieg meme. Zach, it says, "I was gonna make a Pete Buttigieg meme, but fuck it."
You're so dumb. Oh my gosh.
This is hilarious.
You're so dumb.
So here's
I can't
another
deal with
one.
you.
Oh my god. Okay, the Saving Private Ryan one. This is hilarious. Changing Ryan's privates. Do you see this?
No, I told you
Oh
I'm
my
not. I'm
god.
not looking at the
You need to
live.
watch it, Zach.
I can't. It'll mess up the audio,
They
man.
have so they have let me move this over for people. Changing Ryan's privates on the cover of the Saving Private Ryan like video cover. They photoshopped Tom Hanks's face out of the picture and put Caitlyn Jenner's face in his face, and then it's starring Caitlyn Jenner, Kristen Beck, and Chelsea Manning.
Some people.
How did
Oh
they
my
come up with this
gosh.
shit?
I don't
Oh
know.
my
I kind of
gosh.
don't want to know, but goodness gracious.
Here's another one. So this one's a picture of Nancy Pelosi, Zach. Okay. It
Oh
says,
God.
hold on. It says, no sex after surgery. A recent article in the San Francisco Examiner reported that Nancy Pelosi had sued Stanford Hospital, saying that after her husband had surgery, there, he lost all interest in sex. A hospital spokesman replied, "Your husband was admitted for cataract surgery. All we did was correct his eyesight."
I swear.
Dude, I'm doing this. Okay, I wanted to review these memes because I got fucking like I'm tired of people telling me what I can and can't say. It's the whole point I started this podcast. Okay, I'm fucking. I was tired of that shit. I literally lasted 5 minutes on TikTok, and I'm already have a community violations that ban me for a day or two. But here's it. Oh, there's another one. Oh, that one didn't work. Hold on. Oh, did you see this though? So the judge in the Trials Act, he made a supply chain joke, and he said, "I hope the Asian food," and it didn't. They quoted this wrong. He didn't say I hope that the Asian food isn't coming. He said I hope it's incoming, like that it's on its way. Uh, and I hope that it's not stuck on one of those boats out there in the Long Harbor Beach. And because he said Asian food, people are telling him or are going off saying he's the most racist fucking person in the world. Mind you, this is after his phone rang and he had "God Bless America" as his ringtone. And everyone thought, oh my God, what a fucking racist. He's using Trump's walkout song. Fuck you.
Oh
That's
my gosh.
what God Bless America has been around for how long, Zach?
I don't disagree with you. God Bless America is a staple song that I mean, it represents this country.
It does. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this other one up. This one's funny. Let me find it. Oh, there it is. This next one, Zach, is fucking hilarious. At least in my opinion.
At least in your opinion.
Yeah. But it is funny. Let's go here. And for those of you listening to the podcast, we're doing a Facebook Live, so you can actually go over to the Facebook channel and see this, the memes I'm sharing. Zach, you got to pull up the Facebook Live and see the one I just... The negotiator. And it's Kamala Harris, Zach. Right? And above it says the negotiator, and she's in her suit, and she has knee pads on.
Good God.
Who comes up with this shit? Why?
People who don't.
Because she always sucks dick.
Oh my God.
To increase her... You didn't know that, bro? She's like been accused of doing shit like that.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't need to know that either.
Yeah, she's been accused for that being her way that she kind of got ahead. Huh. But oh my gosh, I saw another one. I don't have the picture, but it was a picture of the second guy that Rittenhouse shot. Yeah, and his body's like laying dead. Okay, and he's at the top part of the meme, but it's like a picture of like half his body, and in the middle of the picture is his skateboard. And it says, skateboard for sale. Owner doesn't need it anymore.
Good Lord.
Dude.
People, man, no filter.
Well, okay. You know why? Because, first of all, this whole trial's a joke.
Agreed. I agree that the trial's a joke. Well, yes, I agree that it's a joke. I believe that this trial is a pure political thing. That is what I believe.
Oh, 100%. Did you see, or do you know why, or I don't know why, did you see this morning that the judge is not allowing MSNBC to go back in the courtroom and do their live broadcasting?
Why?
Because last night when they broke the court, there's a bus that the jury takes, I'm assuming back to the hotel or wherever they're staying.
Uh-huh.
The MSNBC told their reporter there to follow the bus. And that's a huge no-no. You can't just fucking follow the jury bus because they're already worried about, getting hurt.
Yeah.
And
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why they would...
Why they would what?
Why they would do that. Why MSNBC would tell their people to follow the bus.
They just, for whatever reason, they want to probably going to report where they're staying. You understand? MSNBC and CNN, they don't want this kid to get off. They do not want that. They have painted a picture of him being a white supremacist. What's funny is the guy that they painted as being a white supremacist is the one on trial for killing 3 white guys at a Black Lives Matter rally. One of them was on video saying the N-word.
Well, and one of them's
he's a child molester. Well, that's
it.
Yeah, the child molester was on video also saying the N-word. So CNN and MSNBC look really fucking stupid right now. Because the guy that they said was the bad guy is turning out that he's not bad at all. And that's why everyone's making these memes like this. And it's stupid. It's truly stupid. I don't know. I've said this about the prosecution, Zach. Everyone has to represent the losing side. Okay, but the way that they've gone about it is it's different. They're actually trying to frame this kid for something that he didn't do. Now, I'm not saying he didn't kill someone. He did kill 2 people and shot another one, but he did it in a very justified manner in self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
When the fucking prosecution is arguing that he lost the right to self-defense because he brought a gun, I said this yesterday. What the fuck was the point of bringing the gun then?
Well, and again, this goes back to the comment I made the last time we talked about this, where I stated that this will end up being, kind of like a pull, or I don't know what the right terminology is. It's gonna be a ding at the Second Amendment. That's what they're trying to do.
Well, I in a normal case, if it wasn't so high profile, I would be 100% confident saying this guy's getting off. But honestly, even with all the evidence, I don't know. I can't say that he's going to get off because of all the political bullshit around it.
Yeah.
And that's sad. That's fucking sad. Look, when that guy came on the other day that called in, remember? And I had that debate with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, if it was a black kid, everyone would be looking at it differently. And I said,
See, but
well,
there was something that I saw the other day, because I've heard that multiple times as well. There was a African American kid who, I forget who he killed or where he killed them at or something like that, but he was, he was released. He was let go. But it was the same type of situation, I believe. Unless I'm just like crazy mistaken, which I don't think I am.
Well, you don't get these kind of situations, right? Because this happened in a riot with so much video evidence. Hell, the fucking FBI videotaped it, and that's where they're running into now. This is why they haven't come up with a verdict, at least not since before we got on live. They may have after that, I don't know, but they're probably gonna end up dismissing the trial anyway, because the FBI, so? Well, because the prosecution withheld evidence.
Really?
Yeah, well, the FBI has drone footage of the first shooting. And the prosecution got the high quality drone footage. It's like an HD or 4K, extremely high quality.
Wow.
But they, like, the way they sent it to the defense, I think they either texted it or they did something. The defense got it in, like, shitty resolution. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, where's this other tape at? They didn't even know this other better tape existed until the trial started. And they're like, well, where's this other tape? And that's what they're running into now. It turns out the prosecution, like, didn't give it to them right, or they withheld it.
That's wild.
Yeah. So they're asking for a mistrial.
I wonder if they'll get it.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think this whole thing's been a big waste of money, though.
Depends on what side you're on.
Yeah.
I mean, if if you're on the left side where, you think guns are the worst thing in the world and they kill everybody by themselves, then no, this trial's been great. Because this trial plays into what your viewpoint is, which is that guns shouldn't, we shouldn't have a Second Amendment. That's,
Well, okay, when we talked about this yesterday and you made that same argument and I said no, right?
Uh-huh.
That was also, though, before, and I didn't think about this, one of the prosecutors did say that he lost the right to self-defense when he brought a gun. Immediately, I'm thinking, then when can you defend yourself?
See,
he's
but
like, you have to go ahead.
That's the point. To people like that who don't believe in guns, who don't believe guns should be allowed, that people should own them. That's their defense. Like, well, if people didn't own guns, then this wouldn't have happened. Like, well, no, that's not true. That's not how life works. Yeah. If Kyle Rittenhouse would have rolled up in there, trying to help people, which what I've understood and what I've heard and things of that nature, and seen, that's his purpose of going, was to help people. If he'd have rolled up in there with no gun, that kid'd be dead. 1,000% be dead.
Oh yeah. Um. So I'm Chris Taylor. No, there hasn't been a verdict yet. At least to my knowledge. Like I said, we've been live for I don't know how many minutes now. If they came out with a verdict, it happened within the last 30 minutes. So I don't know. To the left, you have no right to defend yourself, no matter what the threat. Well, yeah, and that's what they were trying to argue. And what I didn't like is how much of a smartass the prosecutor was being. Other than the fact he was waving a fucking firearm in people's faces in
That was a
trial.
joke.
I don't know how he got away with that, especially after all the Alec Baldwin shit that just happened. 23 minutes, yeah. So, but like that fat fucker prosecutor got up there and's like, punch him in the face, kick him in the nuts, hit him with your gun. Okay, so you hit someone in the fucking head with the butt of a gun, it could kill them still. And I was going to play footage of a deer getting shot, someone hunting, and a deer getting shot and running away.
Mm-hmm.
Just so the people that have never seen or been around something like that can get a visual perspective that when you shoot something, it doesn't just fucking die.
Correct.
It's still a threat.
Especially with the round that AR has. I mean, that's for the lack of a better, it's a pass-through round.
Well, the FMJ that he was using is, yes. That's why I don't get, and I wish the jury, or I hope the jury some of them have some gun knowledge. Like an FMJ, I'd rather get shot with an FMJ than I would a hollow point. But the prosecutor's argument, but I think they're making this argument because they're also trying to get him on reckless endangerment, which is he's responsible for those bullets that he shoots, regardless of the matter. And if you shoot an FMJ and if it's passing through, he could potentially hit someone else, right? Like Alex Baldwin did. But I would rather be shot with an FMJ than I would a hollow point. Because if he shot them with a hollow point, he would have. I mean, he already killed 2 of them and hurt 1. The other guy probably would have lost his fucking arm.
Yeah. It's a completely different bullet. I mean, it mushrooms as soon as it hits something.
Yeah. I mean, the prosecutor was right. Bullets are not bullets. They're different.
Uh-huh.
And they're designed differently. But in Kyle Rittenhouse also, they asked him like, okay, when you use a hollow point, you shoot a deer, does it do this? And Kyle Rittenhouse said, I don't think they use it to hunt. He was wrong about that because I use hollow points to hunt.
Well,
I'm not saying you want to, but I do.
I was about to say, I mean, for me, which I probably never would, but if I was to hunt with an AR, I'd want a hollow point, because if I shot a deer with a regular 5.56 round, and I didn't hit it dead in the vitals, all it's going to do is pass through the body.
It's going to take a while for it to die. Now it depends. Right. I think it all depends on what gun. Now, when I'm using the 243 super short, I use a soft tip or a hollow point. When you use a 308, you can ruin the meat.
Yeah. Well, I mean it. Yeah.
He said, clear-cut self-defense, and us UK guys might be quick to blame guns, but for me, I would have done the same thing just based on self-defense. If I had a metal pipe, I would have used it. You're right. And I don't think this depends on what country you come from. So this person's from the UK. And obviously I have ties in Australia, and we all know what happened with the guns there. But it doesn't matter what you use for self-defense. Self-defense is self-defense. In some countries, however, if you use a gun in self-defense, you're going to get in trouble for having the gun and maybe using the gun, but you weren't supposed to have the gun in the first place. But we've ruled that out with Kyle Rittenhouse. He was allowed to have that gun because that's what they were trying to get him for. Other than that, I don't care. It's not an American right. It's not a state right. It's a human right, I feel like, to be able to defend yourself.
100%.
Like, how can any country not have a law that says you have to wait for the police? The police take fucking 20 minutes. You're already dead. Like, how can you fuck the police in that regard? Not in a. No, I'm not saying. Look, I'm a huge go blue, okay, police lover, but fuck waiting on the police. I'd rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6.
Agreed.
That's simple. I'd rather be alive and leave it up to someone judging me than I would to be fucking dead. So anyone on the left or anyone that agrees with, oh my God, he shouldn't have done this, or this dumb fuck fat ass prosecutor that's saying he should have turned around and engaged him in a fist fight, you're fucking stupid. And the defense attorney made a good argument. He says, my client doesn't have to wait for a beating. He doesn't have to take a beating. He doesn't have to be touched. If he's in danger and he feels he's in danger, that's enough. That's all it is. Just look at the Closkeys put in jail for defending their home in a private. Are those the ones from Missouri? He was an attorney too, or a judge, wasn't he? The ones that were just pointing the guns? Is that who you're talking about? I'm reading the comments here, Zach, so I know you can't see them, but and I think he's talking about. Did you see the people that were in Missouri during the BLM riots? Yep, that's who he's talking about. The ones that they were standing outside their house with an AR, and they're pointing the guns at the crowd, keeping them away from the house, and they're in like a gated community.
No, I didn't see that.
It was last year. It was an attorney, I believe they're out in Missouri. Yeah, he's an attorney. And the BLM rioters went through his gated community. They weren't supposed to be there at all. They're walking through the neighborhood, and so him and his wife go out there, and his wife's got a pistol, and he's got an AR-15, and he's pointing it at him. Basically telling him, don't fucking come near my house. And
dude, you best believe that if anything like that were to happen around here, I'd be locked and loaded.
What I will say to this though is that the wife was acting along the lines of like an Alec Baldwin or the prosecutor. She was waving it very, like, because I think she even pointed at her husband at one point.
Really?
Yeah, but other than that, the fact of the matter was they had the right to defend their property. It's not even just your life. In Florida, it's if someone comes out there with a bat and starts beating your car while you're in it, you can shoot them. It's not a matter of property. It is a matter of property. There's a guy when I was growing up in Naples, Zach, the neighborhood next to mine. He had a trailer on his property. He was in my cousin's neighborhood. He had a trailer on a property. He lives in the house. Well, he was growing pot in the trailer. These kids from the local high school there broke into the trailer, and he went out and shot him and killed him with a shotgun.
Really?
Yeah. And he wasn't even in the trailer. And I believe he ended up getting off on the murder charges, and because he was protecting his property. And he only went to jail for the pot, if he even went to jail for the pot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So different states have different laws, obviously. But this is in Wisconsin, and he was allowed to be there, and he was allowed to defend himself. The other thing is, when you look at a map, I saw that the one that survived, Gage Grushwitz, he drove from like 50 miles away from Milwaukee, and Kyle Rittenhouse was only 21 miles down the road. But they were getting mad at Kyle Rittenhouse for driving all that way to be there at that riot. I think the sex offender, Rosenbaum, came from Arizona.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's from Wisconsin.
But they were both tied to BLM, weren't they?
No, Rosenbaum had no ties. Rosenbaum, the child molester, the first guy shot,
Mm-hmm.
Got released from a mental hospital that day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was threatening to kill himself while he was there.
Huh.
So,
Interesting.
yeah. And he was just there just to start trouble. He had nothing else to do.
Hmm.
So part of the issue is, well, was he actually just trying to commit suicide anyway by chasing these kids? By chasing the guy with the gun?
I'm gonna say probably not to that one.
Well, he was trying to kill himself in the hospital earlier.
Hmm.
So that's where someone's past needs to come up. It doesn't always need to come up in a trial. Okay, especially if you serve time for something you did. But if you're a fucking 11-time child molester and you are on, have been kicked out of your house for beating your wife,
Mm-hmm.
and then you are, a violent person that was suicidal,
Mm-hmm.
and now you just got shot with someone claiming that you were fucking chasing them, attacking them, who are you gonna believe?
Hmm.
And I just, the shit we're wasting money on now, we're wasting money on this trial. This is a waste of money. Now the other one down in Georgia, I haven't followed it that much. The Ahmaud Arbery one, that's one that needed to go to trial. Because that one, I think those guys are going to fucking jail. I don't think that was self-defense in that one. I think that one was pretty fucked up.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't think they're gonna get out of that one. So that was just some thoughts I had on that. But
Just your thoughts, huh?
yeah, just my thoughts, dude. I was so fucking mad about the TikTok thing.
It's all right. You'll get back to TikTok. Everybody comes out of TikTok jail eventually.
Well, I got some shit to put on there. I got some good shit. I mean, it'll be on Facebook too, but
Oh, okay.
it will. Uh, it'll be on Facebook too, but uh, Kyle's like, well, take out some of those words, like censor some of those words. I was like, that like it doesn't deliver the same.
It doesn't deliver the
It
same.
doesn't. Think about it. Like some of those videos that I have, like you gotta have those certain parts. Like the AOC one, you have to say, that this retard fish butt fucked a monkey or whatever shit fuck she says. Like that's what delivers the whole joke.
Oh my gosh.
So you can't censor it, because then if you censor it, it's just going to say a fish, monkey.
Just
That's it.
always remember, I'm I'm with you on expressing your opinion, but be respectful.
Look, I'm respectful to everyone listening. It was a joke, okay? Uh, and let's see. I had a group of 26 youths attack my house, and it took the police 3 hours to turn up. I had a wife, a newborn, and this all happened because I confronted a thug for trying to steal my car that's in Manchester, UK. If I had a gun, I would have diffused that straight away. Oh, absolutely. It we have nuclear weapons. And Zach, I don't know if we talked about this, but nuclear weapons, it always comes up during political debates. Should we cut down on how many nuclear weapons we have? But nuclear weapons have been the reason why we haven't had a major war in the last however many years. Now, I'm not saying it can't happen again, but it's a, what's the word I'm thinking of, Zach? It is a deterrent.
Yeah.
We hold off from doing things to Russia and China, just like they hold off from doing things to us, because of that, because of the cost, right? It's not, we can kill everyone and you can kill everyone. Maybe we just don't need to go down this road. That's why they do other, economic sanctions and whatever else, instead of referring to actual warfare. It's the same thing with a gun. a gun can be used as a deterrent. Make someone think twice. If you know someone has a gun, think about it, if cops didn't have guns in the United States, Zach, how many cops would have their fucking ass whooped every day?
Well, we wouldn't have any cops.
Who would want to be a cop, right? No one,
Mm-hmm.
especially when everyone else has a gun. So it's all about the thought, like, okay, if I try this person, what could happen? If you know they have a gun, you're probably not going to mess with that person.
Yeah, that's right.
So
All right.
I know you got to go. We'll end it there. But yeah, so we will probably be on tomorrow, probably about the same time. And thanks for joining the live, guys.
Hello?
Hey, man.
Yo, I just have to say facts to that statement that you just made about nuclear weaponry has been the reason why people have been hesitant to come sideways in America. And also having guns have been a deterrent from people bothering and really having some respect for the law. Because if the law didn't have guns, people might react a different way to it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. No, 100%. That's you know, you can't argue that. You can't argue you know, people want to argue the Second Amendment and whatever. That's fine. But you can't argue the fact that the things that seem the most evil actually
Uh-huh.
probably provide some of the most good.
See, all right, think about this. Do you know that there was a time when guns didn't exist, or at least not on the level that they exist today, and people had like swords and spears?
Yeah.
Whoever was the group that had the most dominant ability with their spears and with their sword, people didn't bother them.
Yeah.
When other armies marched, they marched away from them. But the ones that didn't have nothing, or the ones that were weak, those were the ones that were accosted. So you're absolutely right when you say that what seemed wicked was what helped most nations prevail.
Oh yeah. And think
And-
about this. When and you can argue who the first people to come over here were. You know, you could say the Vikings if you count them being up in Canada with Eric Leaf, or you can say
You
Columbus
mean Leif Erikson?
or whoever,
You mean
right? Yeah,
Leif
Leif Erikson.
Erikson?
Sorry, Eric Leaf. Wow, Leif
Uh-huh,
Erikson. Yeah.
uh-huh,
Or you can say Christopher Columbus, right? But
uh-huh.
when Columbus came over here, what do you have? He had guns, and
Exactly.
and you know, there's mixed views on Columbus. But when the settlers came over here, the Pilgrims and the English and whoever else, they also had guns.
Uh-huh.
Well, who has dominated in the United States since then?
The people with the guns.
Because
Do
the
you
other ones
know
didn't have them.
exactly? Do you know I touched on pretty much what the title of your topic was, and that's what drew me to this podcast today. I saw that you were touching on censorship and political correctness. I had a podcast that was on yesterday, and I spoke about those very same issues. And what's happening is between censorship and political correctness, nobody's supposed to say anything. And that's why I applaud you for saying, you know what? I say what I feel. Whether it's right or wrong, say what you feel. Because people ain't gonna do nothing but challenge it anyway.
Yeah,
But just say it because you have the right to express yourself. If we cower to the censorship or the political correctness, then nobody would know what the opposing side thinks.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get the narratives. We got to put them out there, and I'm thankful that you putting them out there. I was just sitting back enjoying the show.
No, absolutely. And I don't know if you heard the beginning. The reason why the censorship part came up is because I had a video I had made, and it was just making fun of AOC.
Mm-hmm.
It's a joke. I like making people laugh, right? It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
And it was taking a South Park clip, and I put it up on Facebook, and it got like 150,000 views. And I have never gotten a video that had anything like that, right? It just went crazy. So my brother convinced me to put it up on TikTok. Well, TikTok put it down immediately. But I had like 30,000 views in like a matter of, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours. But then they took it down.
Well, that's censorship. Listen, don't you know if you put a video on and it goes viral, you get paid for that.
Yeah.
I think what America is what understand this. We are in a time where nobody wants to work anymore. People are offering $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 bonuses just to get people to come in and fill out the application. That's never happened in American history before.
Yep.
You know, America are seeing their citizens having alternative incomes or alternative means to income. And they know that the internet is the number one alternative means of getting income. So they want to shut you down so you can't live, so they can force you back on the plantation of working.
Mm-hmm.
They want to force us back to working for them.
I've always said this, and I said it a couple times on the podcast. One way I always look at it, and I use this phrase if it comes to racism or prejudice or someone's just being an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather be walking in the woods and have a venomous snake laying out in the open where you can see it, or would you rather be walking in the woods and having it hidden underneath all the leaves where you can step on and it can bite you?
I'd rather see it.
Exactly. Because you know where it's at, you know how to take care of it.
React to it. Exactly. If I don't see it, I can't react to it. And that's what's happening is a lot of the danger is unforeseen. You just mentioned Ahmaud Arbery.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he foresaw that happening to him, because if he foresaw that, he wouldn't have been there.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing about it is we don't know unless it's a clear and present danger what the level of danger is. Like you said, when you see it, okay, it's clear and present.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's hidden, you don't understand the clear and presence of the danger that you are about to go into. And Ahmaud Arbery did not understand it, because it ain't like they was out there parlaying and waiting for him. They came up once he was already there. It was too late for him to have known that was going to happen.
Yeah.
By the time he knew, it was too late.
And yeah, it's hard for me to speak on that case because I haven't been following it as much. Obviously, when it first happened, I saw the videos, and when I see these videos, whether it's George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, or the Kyle Rittenhouse one, whatever, I try, especially right afterwards. You have to be careful what you hear from the media and what you're seeing in the video, because there's usually a lot more to the story.
Mm-hmm. But let me say this.
But now what it looks like is these Ahmaud Arbery people, like that was kind of fucked up. Like there's
it really what it is if you see a video, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you got a sound mind, if you have a sound mind, people shouldn't have to give you a play by play of what's happening. Yeah. Because if you're viewing the video, you're seeing it unfold right before your eyes. Mm-hmm. Well, what happens is it's a shame when America shows us the video and then tell us what to think while the video's running.
Yeah.
Okay, well, think this way about that. Okay, well, you see this, think this way about that. So now you have a programmed, brainwashed impression of what just happened, because they made you think the way you're thinking. And I think what happens is, in most cases, that fosters people to lean toward race because white people are going to see it from one perspective, the way it was medialized, and black people and brown people are going to see it from another perspective.
Mm-hmm.
They cause the division that we have. You never said nothing to me out of the way. I never said nothing to you out of the way. But collectively, white people and black people have a problem. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not an individual problem, it's a group dynamic.
Yeah. And the last time you called in and we went on
Mm-hmm.
for a while. And
Uh-huh.
I've been wanting to reach out to you. I appreciated that talk. It was a really good talk we had.
Uh-huh.
And I really enjoyed it, and I thought a lot about it and a lot of the stuff you said. And I did want to make this clear, and I brought it up on the. I don't know if you were listening long enough, but I brought up on the live stream today
Uh-huh.
that because we're seeing these BLM people, and I don't even know if it's BLM, but you see these people in front of the courthouse right now, waiting on the verdict for Kyle Rittenhouse, and they're going to riot and loot if he gets off. MSNBC had already sent someone chasing after the jury bus, trying to see where the hell they were going.
Uh-huh.
If you watch the trial from open to close, everything in the trial, which all the evidence they presented, everything, all the witnesses, everything, that is literally all the information there on the matter.
Uh-huh.
There's no way you can say that Rittenhouse didn't act in self-defense. The only argument was that he shouldn't have been there.
Okay,
And we talked about this.
And that was my argument the last time.
Yeah, but the other people shouldn't have been there either.
Understand this. See, the protest, I think what happens with most protests is that every domestic terror cell plant people within that protest. You'll have a little bit of Antifa. You'll have a little bit of skinheads, a little bit of Black Lives Matter, and so on and so forth. And then some of these groups don't like each other. And I don't think that. I don't think that. Do you remember? I forget where it was. It was not in Virginia, but a place called Virginia where Antifa and another group, white supremacists, met and they had a shootout. Donald Trump was president. Do you remember that?
It wasn't it wasn't a shootout, but they clashed. It was a Charlottesville.
Yeah, but a couple of them got killed on both sides.
Yeah, the girl got run over by a car.
All right. Now understand this. In the midst of that, nobody ever said that they were terrorists. Nobody ever said they was thugs. Donald Trump came out and said that it was good people on both sides.
Yeah.
But nobody won't say it's good people on both sides when it's BLM. Nobody won't say it's good people on both sides when it's Antifa. And I'm pretty sure it's some good people in Antifa and Black Lives Matters. But if you go for the wrong reason, it don't matter how good you are. What was your intention?
Yeah, because the BLM, I agree, but the Antifa, I'm not so sure, because I think if you're joining Antifa, you're actually joining that group knowing that you're doing it as to follow that kind of violent mannerism. Yeah, it'd be like me joining the KKK. Like, I would know what I'm joining that for, right? It's kind of like that.
But most people don't call those groups out. The only reason they call Antifa out because Antifa has a strong mix of blacks, a strong mix of whites. They probably even have Latinos and stuff sprinkled in there. Mm-hmm. So what's happening is when people see groups like that come together, that's a problem because you know why? They really supposed to be divided. And it seemed like when those types of people come together, groups like that, they getting past all of the divisiveness. They getting past all of it. See, one thing America don't want to see is, do you know American citizens outweigh the military, any branch of military, at least 150, maybe 1,000 to 1.
Oh yeah.
So America will have a hell of a problem if blacks, whites, Latinos, just everybody just bet and say, hey, we're not taking this no more because we understand that we're not the problem. You're causing the problems that we're having.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
See, you
But
might not have, you might, hold on, you might not have ever stopped me from getting a job, right?
mm-mm.
But if I don't understand how to communicate racism effectively, then I say white people stopping me. When in actuality, it's not white people, because when you say white people, you mean from the poorest to the wealthiest.
Mm-hmm.
Poor whites are not stopping ethnic progress. It is whites who are in power, who own major corporations, the head states and head government. Those are the whites. But as long as you say whites, it means that you saying everybody. We got this. We got to find a new way to communicate racism.
I agree with and this goes into the discussion we had the last time, right?
Uh-huh.
I think the first part of that statement, or let me clarify, the whites that are empowered, you said.
Uh-huh.
I think that you're right, but solely based on because of the numbers of how many whites are in power. Because there's not a data pool of, I mean, you have black people that are among the wealthiest, but not as many,
Uh-huh.
right? So as far
Okay.
as the amount of control is, it's one sided.
All right, watch
Now,
this.
go ahead.
Last I checked, the last statistics that I checked had 50. It had 33,000, 33 million. 33%, I mean, sorry about that. 33% of whites in poverty, right?
Mm-hmm.
It had X amount, like as far as like middle class and stuff like that. And there was 25% of whites that were in that wealthy class, along with 12% of blacks that was in that wealthy class.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else was at the bottom. So between
For the
the
blacks,
middle,
you're saying?
yeah, for the blacks and for the whites, like most of the people were in the middle and the bottom.
Yeah.
So if you look at all of the people in the bottom and all of the people that's in the middle, white and black, we outweigh the wealthy by major numbers. Major numbers.
Yeah.
So for real, they have to divide us, because if we band together, then they can't sleep comfortably at night.
Here's where I have an issue with the wealthy. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I got to be careful saying that because I'm 100% capitalist. Okay. I'm a conservative.
I am too.
Yeah. And I think that people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk have provided the value of their worth. Okay. And I don't think that we should punish anyone for success, whether
Oh
it be in
no.
tax
Oh
laws or
no.
anything like that.
Oh no.
But go ahead.
All right, let me say this. You are absolutely right. I don't punish the wealthy for becoming wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
They went out there and they made it happen. But I don't think that you use your position of wealth to disadvantage
That's
other
where I was
people.
getting at. That's where I was going to go to.
That's the only problem I have with the wealthy, and that's just not white wealthy. That's even black wealthy, because the black wealthy is a buffer between black poor, and white wealth. They're the buffer. Because most people will say to us, and I believe that this is right with all of my heart. I believe that the 12% of wealthy black people, now these are just the statistics from the last time I checked, which probably was like about maybe in 2012 or 2014. I believe that they are in a position to at least start a transference of wealth, that when everybody else see that, then other people might chip in. But as long as the black wealthy parlay their wealth away from poor blacks, don't nobody else feel like they should join in.
So when you're saying a transfer of wealth, what are you meaning? Can you clarify
When
that?
I say the transfer of wealth, all right, check this out. Most of us, we have like a little common thread. Like we might drive Cadillacs, right?
Yeah.
We might wear alligator shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a couple of things that we do that we have in common, just like white people do things that have things in common, right?
Yeah.
I believe that if we drive a particular car, why not pull our resources?
Sorry, my phone went off. Good.
Okay, why not pull our resources so that we can buy the company that manufacture the car that we drive, so that we can start cashing in from the cars that we drive? Why not parlay some of our money into supermarkets for our communities, so therefore we can begin to feed our own community as opposed to asking other people to feed us? Because do you know one of the knocks on grocery stores in urban neighborhoods, if white people put them there, that they're not pushing the freshest food to that location? Well, if we think that, start our own supermarkets and we ain't got to worry about that. Do you
So
understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
All right, go ahead.
I see what you're saying, but now I'm gonna attack it from a different point of view. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Because what you're going into is ownership and property ownership. This is what
No, what I'm
separates.
talking about is a transference of wealth to make sure that even some of the least people get to touch some of that money that exists.
I know. So
Because
that's where
it's
I'm.
a
So
problem with the yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
but you're going down a socialist and communist road with that.
All right,
Think about
watch
what you're
this.
saying now.
All right, I'm gonna think about what I'm saying, and then I'm gonna ask you this question.
Yep.
When white people use Dr. Martin Luther King as the instrument
Mm.
to ask for integration, were white people being socialists and communists? Nobody ever accused them of that, because you got
Well,
to
no, because
remember.
you're talking about you're talking about
No,
though, uh, you're talking about an opportunity. But what you were saying before, you were saying
uh-huh.
a transfer of wealth and ownership. But you were talking about pulling money together to and
to, to
it's about the
get
way
back.
you go to it. That's why I
All
wanted you
right,
to
watch
clarify. So
this.
it's how you
I'm
get there.
saying that. I'm saying that to get back the things that we had before integration. Integration crushed the black community. Did you know that in 1949, prior to integration, black people had their own transportation, they had their own movie theaters, they had their own grocery stores, their own hospitals, their own banks. But once integration hit, we we caved and gave all of what we had up, and we started going to white theaters. We started putting our money in white banks. We started investing in white grocery stores, going there buying our food, and we forsook our own to the point that it don't even exist no more. Was that communism or socialism that caused that to happen? All I'm saying is we need to get back some of the things that we lost in the struggle.
Yeah. So I actually, I told you after we talked last time, I wanted to reach out to you. This is actually something I wanted to talk to you about. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Because, and I don't know what you know about things I've talked about in the past, but
Mm-hmm.
what do you think a solution would be? You like you said before, you have the majority of the black population comes from uh, rough areas. Okay.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
What do you think the solution would be to change that? To not immediately. It's not going to be an immediate solution.
It's never
Yeah,
an
but what
immediate
do you
solution.
think
Mm-hmm.
would be the way to allow people to come up out of that?
All right. I'm so glad you asked me. Thank you. Let me say thank you for asking me that question. The number one thing that I think has to happen for any progress to be made, even if it's just a band aid on a gunshot wound, it should be the revamping of medialization. in the United States. Let me say this, like you just said, you said most urban Americans or most black people come from rough areas, right?
Yeah.
Understand this. New York is heavily populated. They have millions of people there, right?
Yep.
And when the media medialized New York, they just said as like, oh, it's New York, as if they blanketed the statement and said it's all black people just acting a certain kind of way. But
You're talking about the
understand,
crime, right?
yes, as far as the crime, understand this. If it's 500 deaths in 1 year in Chicago, there are millions of people in Chicago. So if all of them were violent, do you know what would happen? Hundreds of thousands or millions of people would die a year because there'd be what the media never say is that it's only a small segment of those communities that exhibit that type of behavior. Do you know how many black citizens in the city of Columbus, Ohio, actually have concealed carrying license?
Oh, a
They
lot do.
wouldn't. That's exactly, and they wouldn't be that if all of the black people in the city of Columbus, Ohio, participated in the criminality of
Okay,
Columbus,
so
Ohio. It's
you brought up a
a
great
small
point. I'm
segment.
glad you said. I'm glad you brought the concealed carry permit. Now you're talking about Ohio. It's a different state than Chicago. In Chicago, you can't have that.
Exactly. And guess
So
what?
go ahead.
And guess what? The majority of the people, as a matter of fact, I don't think they have concealed carry in Chicago, but certain areas of Chicago have constitutional carry. As a matter of fact, Columbus, Ohio is voting on constitutional carry, which means that they'll be able to carry even without a concealed license. Are
Which
you
I'm
aware of
for.
that?
Yeah, which I'm for
Okay.
because we have that in
Okay.
Tennessee, and I think Florida does it as well. Uh,
Exactly. That's constitutional carry.
yeah.
In Chicago, they have constitutional carry. The constitutional carriers ain't going around committing a crime. It's that segment of Chicago that are just criminal, right? That
Yeah.
small segment, because understand only 400 or 500 people die, which means that you're not even killing 0.1% of Chicago. So it can't be everybody. But when you blanketly medialize it, people get the concept that everybody in Chicago is a criminal. Everybody in New York is a criminal. That everybody in Philadelphia, because I know you heard of Philadelphia's crime rate right now,
Yeah.
that everybody in Philadelphia is a criminal, and that's not the case.
I
That's
agree.
not the case.
Now, if you and let me say this, and this is where we started at last time with our
Mm-hmm.
conversation, going
Mm-hmm.
into because remember we brought up the gun deaths and how they were um, swayed more towards inner city, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So now inner city in Chicago could be all metro Chicago. That could be there's a lot of white areas, black areas, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you cut out South Side Chicago,
Uh-huh.
the rough area there, and you
Okay.
let's say you eliminate it,
Uh-huh.
Chicago's gun deaths drastically go down. Okay,
Exactly. But you know
so
what? If let's
go ahead.
say for instance, Chicago's gun deaths for the year, because the year is almost out, right?
Yeah,
We only got
a month
a
left, two
month
months.
and
Yeah,
less
month
than
and a
a
half.
half. Yes.
Yeah,
So you figure, let's say for instance, it settles at 550. Let's say for instance, you do away with the south side of Chicago. It'll still be about 250, which would be high everywhere else.
yeah.
Which would be high
There's a lot
for
of people. Yes.
so understand it ain't just the urban environment that's the last statistics I saw on black crime, and even though nobody ever put it out there in this manner, white on white crime, blacks killed each other to the tune of 93%, while whites killed each other to the tune of 83%. So people are killing based on location, based on proximity. Most people that live in Philadelphia don't go out to Strawberry Mansion to kill somebody. Most people in Westchester, Pennsylvania, don't go to Philadelphia, City to kill some. They kill people that live in the environment that they preside in. So
Yes,
when crimes happen in white suburbs, they don't have to come to urban neighborhoods to kill each. They got people to kill right where they live.
agreed. Now, when it comes to those shootings, then, so
Mhm.
let's say territorial, so that'd be gang
Okay.
related,
Uh-huh.
okay? And I would say, in statistically speaking, that's what most of it is, okay?
Uh-huh.
There's also a lot of other crimes in those neighborhoods other than gun deaths that are just higher.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what the
Okay.
statistics are on how much higher, because everyone does drugs, right? Everyone does certain things, but you have other
Everybody.
crimes and it starts there. Now,
Okay.
I'm not saying that. What I'm getting at though is, what are the solutions? Because this is what you do. This is
Uh-huh.
why I'm asking, because you never hear the media,
Uh-huh.
or you never hear uh, a lot of the black leadership talk about it,
Uh-huh.
because there's certain
Uh-huh.
people, and I'll name two right off the back that they're very famous. You have Al
Uh-huh.
Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. All right,
Okay.
that I think that
Okay.
they don't care what happens, because they're irrelevant if it, you know what I'm saying, they don't, if they need the black population to have problems,
Uh-huh.
otherwise they're irrelevant, because who the
Oh,
fuck would
hold
listen to,
on.
who cares about them?
I'm so glad you said that because you are telling the truth. If you take, see, this is why I say the first one of the first things that we got to change is mismedialization. And let me tell you why. Sir, just based on what you just said, if you take black problems out of America, the church is going to close. The colleges are going to close because the whole sociology, the whole psychology department, and the whole human services department of colleges and university is predicated on people going and learning in those courses and coming back to the urban environment and getting a job. Do you know most social workers do not work in the suburbs? You know where they work, right?
Yeah,
They
they work
work in
in
the
lower
urban
income.
environment.
Yeah.
So for real, if you take black problems out of America, America will crumble. And this is why you have to ask this question, kind sir, on your show. Maybe you need to do a show and ask white people this question because and I'm not saying just because you're white, the majority of your listeners are white, because I'm black and I listen to you.
Hmm.
What I'm saying is, if the majority of your listeners are white, maybe you need to do a show and call that show "If Black People Win, Who Loses?" If black people start climbing up the economic scale and they start grinding on the economic food chain, who's losing as a result of that? Because most of what America has been predicated on has been predicated on the unfortunate. If black people came and got an economic increase, what's going to happen to all of the people that had the shelter boards? What's going to happen to all of the social workers, to all of the workers in welfare, to all of the workers in housing, because they might not need poor housing? And see, if we win, somebody got to lose.
And you know who's gonna lose?
Who's that?
You have your you have your black, not all, but you
Uh
have some of
huh.
your black leadership, like the two I just mentioned,
Uh
and then you have the
huh.
people above them, like your politicians that you guys vote for.
Uh huh. All right. Well, understand,
The Democratic Party would be gone.
professors are going to lose.
Yes.
You got to understand, universities and colleges are going to lose.
Now,
You
when
got
you're
to
saying the university and
understand
colleges, I don't know
that.
how much of that. I wouldn't say that, because
All right, put it
like,
this
not a
way.
lot of them. There's a lot of social workers and people that do that. Yes, but not a
Huh?
lot.
Okay. I tell you what, doctors still going to be around. You're
Yes,
going to have a shortage of lawyers because most of the lawyers that go into the urban environment is waiting for black problems.
but most of them
And
are
black
public defenders, are they
problems
not,
are
provided by the
getting,
government?
no, a lot of them are, listen, There is enough black people
Hmm.
that are making enough dollars from drugs that they are able to pay retainer
Get good.
fees.
Okay.
Don't think. See that the mismedialization of urban America have you thinking that most of us subscribe
Well, no, I
only
actually know
to
that
public defenders.
I actually know that when you're talking about when you're getting in, there's a good book, Freakonomics, okay, and it has a segment in there on this about a guy from the University of Chicago that went and did a study on a gang, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
what he found, he was shocked. You had your lower level people, okay, but you had people that were high up that were making damn good money and they run it exactly like a business. And in fact, that one of the black guys that was a head guy in there had gone to college and he just went back there and started doing the drug dealing. And he ran it like a business,
Mm-hmm.
making like $500,000 or $1 million a year. Um, so I do know that. But what I'm saying is that I wasn't necessarily pertaining to the higher up drug dealers. I'm talking about just the lower on the totem pole people, the one on the
Uh-huh.
corner selling. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not paying retainer fees. The people above them are.
Check this out. This is what happens. All right. Say for instance, you have a job, right?
Yep.
And you're a truck driver. And say for instance, because most trucks have governors on them that control how fast they roll, right? Or we
Yeah.
we don't point with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Say for instance, your governor broke one day and you didn't know. So you flooring it because you used to flooring it because it's driven by control.
Yeah.
And you're not aware that it broke and you get a speeding ticket. Do
Mhm.
you know your company will pay that speeding ticket? Well, most of these drug dealers out here that's just at the street level, they're not dealing for themselves. They dealing for individuals
I see what you're saying.
who
So you're
have
saying
the
they're
money.
covering it for them.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's one of their employees. You got to understand the only reason that drugs is not seen as a legitimate business is because it's not legalized. They did that with alcohol during prohibition.
Yep.
Well, now you can legally sell alcohol.
Hmm.
See, the only thing that makes it illegal or makes it legal is the fact that it's been legislated against.
You're
You
right.
understand? See, think about this. The medialization of the urban community has white people in the dark about what's really going on because half of what we hear that's medialized is not true. And white people see it when it comes to other white people because for Kyle Rittenhouse, y'all have the same suspicion about the media that we have about George Floyd. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
The same suspicion. So understand if the media don't just lie to me, it lied to me and you. It's just how we see it, how we perceive. See, but we got to have that background knowledge because the background knowledge that you have makes it easier for you to see through the smoke screens that's thrown at you.
So let me say this. Let me give you a couple thoughts, and I think about this a lot. So I'm an economics person. Okay, I graduated with a degree in economics. I work in finance. Okay, but and a lot that I talk about on the podcast sometimes reverts to economics.
Mm-hmm.
But I also look for things like I try to put myself in a position of, okay, if I was a congressman or if I was the president or if I was advisor or whatever, what could I do? I always want to, if I talk about something on the podcast or I bitch and
Uh-huh.
complain about something on the podcast, I try to offer at least have a solution. Now, it may not be a right
Okay.
solution, but it's just what I think may work. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So
When you
you
talk about
want
the
me?
media,
Uh-huh.
when you talk about the media, here's what I think. You have to do something that's not going to violate a First Amendment right. Because I am 100% against violating the First Amendment right. That's the whole point I do the fucking podcast so I can say whatever I want. Okay?
Okay.
But
Okay.
I don't think the media should be allowed to lie.
That's my point exactly.
Okay?
See, you're going exactly where I was going. When the media outright, do you know one thing that I agree with Donald Trump about is every time the media reared this ugly head, Trump was talking about that they was lying. How did he phrase it? How was it phrased? By fake news.
Yeah.
He talked about fake. Now, here's the irony of it. How is it that white people, along with Donald Trump, can see misrepresented news against white people as fake news? But you mean to tell me they never say fake news against blacks or any other group? See, it you got to remember if they just if they're giving fake news, they're giving fake news. It don't matter who it's against. Fake
You're
news
right.
is fake news, is it not?
It
So
is.
my thing is, we should be able to see it no matter who it's against. We should be able to see fake news when it's in our face.
Yes. So let me bring up a scenario. All right. Now, I don't know. I'm sure you've seen the footage of Joe Biden this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
What he said on Veterans Day. All right.
Uh-huh.
Talking about Satchel Paige.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know exactly what his statement was, but I heard
So-
something in
So
reference
he-
to it. But kind of freshen me up. Kind of get me refreshed
So
on it.
basically, there's a video. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've seen the one from Fox News and I've seen the one from other news stations.
Okay.
There's a video, and he refers to Satchel Paige basically, and actually, I maybe won't even play it. But he talks about Satchel Paige, and he goes, the great Negro of the time,
Uh-huh.
Satchel Paige, a great pitcher in the Negro Leagues. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, I'm not saying whether it was right or wrong for him to use that word. All I'm saying is that it's not
I
a
know
word you hear,
exactly what you
right?
listen. You're wise, bro. You are you are cunning. You got it going on because you snuck that in on me because that is a word that you're saying that's not typically used. I like the way you snuck that in there. That good going. That's journalism, bro. That is journalism.
Well,
Listen,
what?
let me say
Go
this.
ahead.
Go ahead. Finish. Go ahead.
What I was trying to get at, okay,
Mhm.
is I've never used it, period, to anyone. Okay, like obviously you don't say the other word ever, but
Okay.
saying it like that, right? That's how he said it. You also, unless I'm literally referring to the Negro Leagues, which was the name of the baseball league, okay,
Okay.
but referring to an individual as that, never,
Exactly. All right.
right? Never.
Well,
But
let me.
okay,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Because what I was going to say is that the footage they have,
Uh-huh.
Fox News was
Okay.
accused of doctoring the footage, saying that they cut it up and edited it to where it sounded like he referred to Satchel Paige and then he referred to the Negro Leagues, but he didn't. I went and watched the actual interview and he said it like that. But you have the media, you have two sides of the media
Throwing out sound bites. Throwing out twisted
that's saying,
sound bites.
that's saying, oh, he didn't do it or he did do it. Now he did.
Uh-huh.
He flat out did. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna, criticize him, or I'm not going to say he didn't do something. I'm just taking it at face value. Okay. But he did from the videos I've seen. But that's where the media can get caught lying.
Let me answer your question because I think it's twofold what you're saying. You're telling me what was done and how you perceived it being done, yet you're asking me how do I feel about the use of that word as a black
Well, no,
man.
not the use. I was more referring to on how the media. Because you were saying how, you think that white people perceive fake news, but they don't necessarily see it for black people. The fake news, like they should see the fake news for everyone, right?
Okay.
What I'm getting at is that is one right there where.
But guess what they did with it? They caused divisiveness.
Yes.
Because they getting you to the point where you're either for Biden and you say, nah, he didn't say that, or it can make you anti-Biden because you say, oh, Biden's still doing it like that. But let me just say something about Joe Biden that first and foremost, Joe Biden is the oldest president that we ever had.
Yeah.
He's the oldest president. And Joe Biden is historically from a time, and he's still kicking. He's from a time that a white man could walk up to a black man, smack the living holy hell out of him, and the black man couldn't even react to what just happened.
Mhm.
So when Biden speak like that, it's almost understandable because sometimes, in his mind, he might have, dementia or something a little bit, and he might be reverting back to his young days. But what the media should have a problem with is if a young Karen that's in the media say that. If a young white dude who knows how we really feel about those words and the uses of those words and how it's perceived in the media, if they do it, it's a problem.
It is,
It's
but
a
I think
problem.
that it is for him too. You know why?
It
For
is.
him,
It
for
is
him,
because
because he's been in the spotlight. He's already been accused of being racism,
uh-huh,
and multiple times throughout his political years, right? And he
exactly.
knows, like he's literally been told and all this more so than another old person you're talking about that's never really even
Uh-huh.
been around black people or in that kind of light and has never changed, right? Like that may be where, because that's an experience driven. If you are
Do
going,
you know
good.
Donald Trump is maybe 8 to 10 years probably younger than Joe Biden? Am I right?
I think a
Maybe.
little bit less than that, but he is younger. Yes.
Okay, he's younger. Whenever Donald Trump said things that could have shook up the world or ruffled some feathers,
Mm-hmm.
they said, well, hold on, y'all, Donald Trump might be a little crazy.
But
They
now
even
let me
had
ask you, what did he say? What did he say though?
no, I'm just well, he said some things that was real. Let me say this.
He did say
Had,
rude things. I'm not denying that, but racial
watch
things.
this.
What did he say?
All right, racial, I'm gonna give you a racial thing that he said.
Okay. Yeah.
First and foremost, he called a a sport that has a majority of black people, maybe 75 to 85%. He called them sons of bitches. Had Barack Obama called hockey players sons of bitches when hockey is 85, 75, 85,
More than
90%
that,
white, that
95%
would have
white.
been
Yeah.
that would have been a problem. See, but the way you cover that up is you just say, okay, well, Trump might have some mental issues, and he could get he could get a pass. The thing that make me give Joe Biden a pass is Joe Biden is so old that breaking wind can cause him to die of natural causes. We never had a president that actually literally shitted themselves. This
So
man
now,
is
okay, that goes into another thing. Then, would you not agree that
uh-huh.
a man that can't remember what to say and it being either like he because what you're kind of going along the lines is that he can't remember or is having brain farts and sometimes he says something that is racist, right? That he talked about back in the day. But would you not
Okay.
say that then that means that he's not necessarily mentally competent enough based off of his age and stuff going on in his life to be in the position that he's in?
I, I, I'm gonna say this. This is what I'm gonna say. America is looking more and more like an empire because it is almost run by a mafia. There should never be politicians who have been politicking for the last 40 to
A
45 to
hundred
50
percent agree.
years.
100%
So
agree.
so so for real, what we gotta stop doing is we gotta stop employing old people. We should never have John McCain running. We
No.
should never have Donald Trump. We should never have Biden running because they are too old to handle the affairs of a country that is the majority of young people.
But now I will say this though, okay? And I'm gonna defend Trump on one thing here. When you're talking about how old he was, I agree.
Uh huh.
I don't. They should have term limits, okay? And then maybe there should be a maximum age. But if you're talking about competence, Trump, if you could say what you want about the guy, But the man is up early as hell in the morning, stays up late at night, works his ass off. So you can't deny the fact that he works. All right, he runs a massive company, or did before he was president.
Okay. But you
Right.
gotta
So
remember,
you're talking about he's mentally still there.
okay, but every company that he ever run has filed bankruptcy. See, it don't matter that you're doing business. What matter is how well can you manage the business that you run. And if you can't manage your business in corporate America well, how is it managing the affairs of a nation, the affairs of a whole society? You, we got to employ people who are better suited to manage the affairs of this nation. We got to stop finding almost clones and just say, hey, just because we think the way that you think, we need you to run. Those days are over. As Americans in middle America, I think the average American citizen is somewhere between the ages of, let's say, 18 to 21 to about 40, right? If that is the case, we need people who are closer to their age to not only understand the needs of the youthful, but they can even understand the needs of the old because they're getting older. We need middle-aged people to run this country
So
because
I'm gonna I'm gonna address that, but I'm gonna kind of swing it in a way you probably aren't expecting. All right.
Mhm.
Who is worried about COVID?
Older people.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the ones complaining about people being vaccinated and whatever about wearing masks, all that shit?
I think older people.
Politicians and older
Okay.
people, but most of them are old.
Politicians. Yes,
They're the ones.
My
They're the
point.
ones fucking worried about it.
And this is why. And this is why we have to. Now, I'm not saying disrespect the old. Make no mistake. Let me say that to your listeners. I'm not saying be disrespectful to the old, but at some point we gotta let them know that in certain leagues of life, your time has come to an end. If age didn't have no catalyst or no nothing, do you know you would have 60 and 70-year-old basketball players and football players? They leave at around roughly 35, 40 for a reason. They're too
Yes.
old to keep it going.
So let me
And
let
I
me
think, but
let me rant a little bit, okay? Because I'm
okay,
gonna bring all this whole conversation we've had since the
okay,
time that I asked you what are the solutions with the black community to this now, okay? I'm gonna tie this all in together, and this is something I talk about. This is something I feel extremely strongly about. Okay, you're right when it comes to the old people. We should not discriminate against old people at all. And but there is a time. But how do we get that out of people? How do we get people like these politicians to want to stop working? Because honestly, when you stop working is when you die. Okay?
Okay.
That's why the people that live longer work a long time. But
Okay.
how do we put people in better situations when they're older that they don't have to worry about working, or they don't have to worry about certain things that the policies are doing? It all starts when you're young. It all starts when hold on, let me go on this rant, okay? Because I'm gonna bring it all
Go
together
ahead.
here.
I'm with you. I'm not gonna stop you.
I am a huge proponent of eliminating Social Security. So Social Security is the worst policy in the history of the United States of America.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So, and the reason being is because when we start talking about debt in the United States, that is the main driver. How many? Okay, no matter who works, we have black people work, white people work, everyone. You pay, if you make less than roughly $140,000 a year, you pay 6.2%.
Okay.
If you work for someone, myself who's self-employed, I pay 12.4% because I pay the employer's portion too. into Social Security every year. But when, what's your Social Security benefit? It ain't shit.
You're
You
absolutely right.
eliminate that, you give it back to the people on their paycheck. You do it in the black community, you just increase their pay by 12%. You do it in the white community, it doesn't matter, okay?
Okay.
How you get around things is you can't focus on punishing one class of person and over the other. When Biden says, I'm building from the bottom up and the middle out, he's full of fucking shit. Okay? Because you can't.
Well,
Because,
well, well,
go ahead.
well. Let me ask you this really quick. Didn't Ronald Reagan in his Reaganomics deal from the top down? He said that
No,
there
hold
would
on.
be
No, see, that's where the media gets you. That's
okay.
where the media gets it. So Ronald Reagan's economic advisor, the person that came up with everything he does, Arthur Laffer. I don't know if you heard of the Laffer curve. That's where trickle down economics derives from. Trickle down economics is a myth. It doesn't
Okay.
exist.
Hopefully it is.
You
Hopefully
will
it
never
is.
find Ronald Reagan or Arthur Laffer. If they're saying it, it's because someone had referred to it in the media and it caught wind, right? But trickle down economics is not a real thing. That is the left's way, or the people that oppose Reagan. And trickle down economics goes back before Reagan. They've been saying stuff like that. It's a way to say like the rich are, the rich aren't paying down money to the poor when we implement these policies in their way of swaying people away from the right as far as
Well,
economically. But trickle down
it,
economics doesn't work.
but isn't that true in a sense when you see that most employees of employers get paid just pennies on a dollar?
Okay,
Would that not?
there's a lot of variables that go into it, and I think I can change your mind on this, okay?
All right.
Because what they when they talk, and depending on what news or whoever you listen to, when they talk, this is my fucking problem with the Biden plan, this Build Back Better bullshit and the infrastructure deal and all that. When they talk about saying the lower class won't pay any more in taxes, only the people making above $450,000 a year will pay more in taxes. They're so fucking full of shit. Their head is up their ass, okay? Because look, they want to make you focus on the upper class and taking money from the upper class and giving it back to the lower class. And they say, well, trickle down economics, you give tax cuts to the rich and they pass it through to the poor. That's not the idea behind Reagan's policies. Reagan's policy comes from the Laffer curve. The Laffer curve talks about an equilibrium between tax revenue and taxation of everyone. That's the poorest to the richest.
Okay.
What it says is that you have a certain percentage you can tax people at that you will get the most tax revenue. All right. If you tax people too much, they do things to avoid the taxes and you lose revenue. If you don't tax people at all, they're not going to voluntarily give the money to the government.
Exactly.
So you don't get any tax revenue. So there's an equilibrium, right?
Okay.
And I've said this, and let me ask you, if they came out with a pilot program today that is a voluntary program for you to enter into, you can pay 2 to 4% extra on top of what you're already paying in federal income taxes.
Okay.
Right now, you can volunteer to do it. Would you do it?
It would depend on what's at the other end of that. Let's just say, for instance,
you don't know what's at the other end of what you're paying for now.
But what I'm saying is, if I'm volunteering to pay an extra 2% or 4%, then if they say to me, if you do that for 10 years, this is what we'll do at the back end of those 10 years. Because if you asking me to volunteer to do something, it has to be somewhat of a benefit at
For
the
you.
back. And you got to remember what we're doing right now, what they're doing to us right, is forced. If you are a worker, not if you're a business owner, if you're a worker, your taxes leave your pay before you ever even see your check.
Exactly,
which means
which is a problem in my opinion because some people don't get a perspective. Whereas someone like myself who's self-employed and I have to cut that the government a check out of my pocket every year,
uh-huh.
right? Because they didn't withhold my taxes. You see it from a different light because you're like, oh fuck, I'm actually paying this money I made the government, which someone else who's working for someone is paying the money, but it's
Well,
just taken out. They don't ever receive the money. It's different from receiving the money to not receiving it.
and just having to take, well, you got to remember when they take it out, that just goes to show one thing, that the federal government do not trust the poor, because by taking their money before they ever see it says that I believe if I give you this money, you won't give me what you
The
owe me.
federal government doesn't
So
trust
that,
anybody. That's why they want to hire
understand this.
80,000 IRS agents because the people that get audited the most aren't the poor. It's the rich.
Exactly, exactly. But do you
So
know why
they're the
they
ones that
get
really don't
audited?
trust.
The reason why they get audited the most is because they're the ones that are in the position to crunch the numbers. We know number crunching has been going on at least since the early 1920s. I mean, late 1920s, early 1930s, when Al Capone went to jail because he was on charge for income tax evasion.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even get him for the murder, and they could almost prove that he was responsible for the St. Valentine's Day massacre, but he didn't go to jail for that. They got him on income tax evasion.
Yeah. Well, but what I'm getting at is no one would voluntarily pay it. You know why?
Nobody.
Because you spend your money way better than the government does. All right?
Well, understand this. When people go, just say for instance, you become unemployed, right?
Yes.
Even though you're paying into the government, but you're actually working. So when you go to unemployment, it's not like a handout. But if you paid that extra 2 to 4%, do you know that when you went to unemployment, you would get extra money because they would take into consideration the extra to the 2 to 4% that you're voluntarily paying. So you would just be putting yourself, for the most part, in an economically better situation, at least if you're poor.
You're saying if you didn't pay the taxes.
No, I'm saying if you volunteer, you would really be covering your ass because you would get more money when it came to unemployment because you're actually putting more in.
You're talking about but you're talking about I'm not you're talking about something different. You're talking about something that has to happen as a collective whole.
No, what I'm
Be,
saying is, all right, you said that if people had a chance to volunteer to pay, that most of them wouldn't. And I said that there would be a benefit to volunteering to pay the extra 2 to 4%. Now, most people still ain't going to do it, but there is about it. There is a benefit to paying it,
because
whether we
but
do it
you're
or
talking
not.
about unemployment, but that extra 2 to 4% wouldn't, even if you paid the extra 2 to 4%, it wouldn't
Uh-huh.
benefit you in unemployment. That's where I'm
Okay.
confused.
Okay. The reason why I say, all right, put it this way: in order to receive unemployment insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have
You have
to
to be
be
employed.
paying. Yes, and you have to be paying in. Now, understand this: for the first time in American history, those who weren't paying in were able to get unemployment because they gave the PUA, the
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
pandemic unemployment. I forget what it's called, assistant,
Yeah.
because
The COVID stuff. Yeah.
it was people getting unemployment that didn't work in 10 years. Now, how did you get unemployment if you didn't work in 10 years? Because if
So
you
that's where the
haven't worked,
fraudulent stuff comes in. That's a whole different
but you know
conversation.
what? But they made the fraud.
Yeah.
They created the fraud because if they hadn't told people that, then people in that situation wouldn't have went out and applied. So
So
basically,
you're confirming though what my argument is in a sense, because you're basically saying that the government, because they're the ones that allowed it, okay,
uh-huh.
did not do a good job at managing the money that they printed for the COVID packages.
Well, who was in office then?
It doesn't matter who's in
Oh,
office
no,
because this is everyone.
because
This is a government thing.
so see here when you say the Democrats is responsible for this, it was a Republican in office at that time.
Yes, but
So
now what
my
I'm going to say
point
this is that Trump's Trump or Biden or any president, okay, their oversight of the policy is limited. This is where people also don't understand, okay? The president, we have 3 branches of government. The most powerful branch is not the president.
judicial, and you know what the most powerful branch is? The most powerful branch is the judicial branch because the judicial branch has more employees than every other faction of government. Because you know why? The little bit of legislators only make the law. But most people at the level that we're on, as far as American constituents, the only real law we're seeing enacted is the enforcement of the law.
You're right.
And everything that we're arguing right now in the media is the sole enforcement of the law.
But
This Rittenhouse case, right? That's the enforcement. George Floyd case, that's Ahmaud Arbery. We see it at the judicial level, never at the legislative level.
well, you see it at the legislative level though when it comes to like the
But
COVID
I'm saying
packages.
it don't have an immediate effect on you. It don't impact your. Well, the laws impact you, but the enforcement of the laws is what really grab you.
Yeah, but we're not even talking about law now. We're talking
Uh-huh.
about legislation. Let's separate them because
Okay, let's stick with legislation. All right,
when you're talking,
legislation.
like when we were talking about the COVID packages, okay, that's something that was legislatively done, and the president will help work on that. He'll say he wants something done, like and okay it, and he has the final veto. But he's not the one that is writing the bills. He's just kind of saying, I want this in there, I don't want this in there, and they're going to take it back and get it, argue about it and whatever, right? But the legislators, your Congress, the House and the Senate, are the ones that are putting them together. They are the ones. Go ahead.
Are you aware of a company called ALEC? ALECE. They are the ones who are writing the laws now. The only thing that the Congress is doing, the House and the Senate, is they are looking at what ALEC wrote.
Yeah, they're reviewing.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you're talking about someone that's printing it though. But as far as the discussion about what's in, what's out, blah blah blah, that's Congress.
But let me say this, and then it's another faction that a lot of time we don't even speak on, and those are the lobbyists who are well aware of what Alec wrote, and they are coming in.
Yes.
And they are putting briefcases on politicians' desks, and they are swaying the thought processes of the very politicians that we put in office to serve us. So therefore, they're not working for us.
Exactly. This is why. Think about it. This is why they didn't like Trump. This is why the House of Representatives and the Senate and all this don't like Trump. They have a way of doing things. All right.
Well, let me say.
Go ahead.
You know, the one thing that I liked about Trump, right? Just like I liked about Ronald Reagan, and just like I liked about John F. Kennedy. Do you know if you come from money, right? You don't have to succumb to the lobbying interest.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck you money. It's exactly what it is.
See, understand this. The presidents that we have had that didn't come from money, but was glad to get it because now they're in the presence of money, they were taking bribes hand over fist. But the ones who came from money, you had to either get up early in the morning and put a nice bag together to impress them, or you had to kill them, i.e., the attempt on Ronald Reagan's life and the killing of JFK. So the way Trump was getting down, I'm surprised they didn't kill him either.
Well,
Do you, or at least attempt
I
to?
agree. I don't know about going that far as like killing them, but they're
But at
thinking about it,
least
they
an
impeached him
attempt.
twice.
See, the impeachment of Trump was due to the fact that they couldn't bribe him. See, if they was just dropping bags on Trump and Trump was just accepting the bag or the briefcase or whatever you want to call it,
It wouldn't
they
have
wouldn't
mattered.
have a
Yes,
problem with Trump. But the reason that they tried to impeach him is not because of what he did, because they could really care the hell less. It's that he wasn't going along with the program.
exactly.
See,
And I've said this right. Okay, there's a video. It's a good video of Trump and Pelosi and Schumer arguing about the government shutdown or building the border wall and how border security was first, right? And he's literally
mhm.
arguing with them in front of everyone. And what is that doing? Well, that's kind of embarrassing Pelosi and Schumer because Trump didn't give
Okay,
a fuck,
yes,
right?
yes. He
And now
didn't because
they
he had
and
money.
exactly and he lived off that shit. And he said,
Let,
"No,
let
I
me
want it
ask,
this way, or it's gonna end up like this." And Pelosi and Schumer looked so uncomfortable. They wanted the media to leave. They wanted to continue the discussion in private, and Trump didn't give a fuck. All right.
exactly.
Now Biden, you would never see that doing. Here's what you have right now, and I criticize Biden. This is why I criticize Biden.
Hmm.
Is you can get on Trump about his tweets. You can get on him about whatever,
Uh-huh.
but he was open to whatever he's
Hmm.
thinking,
All right.
and he pressured people. He pressured people that we always talk about wanting to pressure. These people that have been in Congress, like Pelosi and all them, for fucking forever,
Uh-huh.
they don't ever get talked to like that. There was a video the other day, and I don't know if you saw it, the University of Texas defensive line coach motherfucked every player on that bus after they lost the fourth game straight.
Okay.
Okay, and people
Mhm.
were literally saying, "Oh, I can't believe that he would do that. I hope Coach Sarkisian, I'd like to see what he thinks
Uh-huh.
about him motherfucking kids up like that." I'd be like, I like that. We need to motherfuck
Let,
people every once in a while. These politicians need
let,
to be motherfucked every once in a while.
let me say this. Let me say this. I have a book, and the next time I talk to you, I'm going to have the author's name. It is called The Pussification of America.
Yes.
America is being pussified.
Mm-hmm.
And because of this pussification, everybody, when you talk to them, whether they're a winner or a loser, you got to talk to them like, I don't know how white people do it, but culturally, a lot of the elderly women, like when they deal with the little kids, they say, "Oh, everything gonna be all right, little twinkums." Little. That man wasn't supposed to talk to football players that's losing on a losing streak like that.
Exactly.
See, you, the pussification of America is causing America to be real weak. And this is why everything that you can say can offend somebody to the point where they will commit suicide. Do you know I don't give a damn what you say about me to the point that I'm going to go and grab a gun and shoot myself? You just going to have to not like me.
Yeah.
You know, and I know you feel the same way.
Yeah. Because
So,
and I've talked about this. Look, we want to talk about free healthcare. We want to
mhm,
talk about the rich paying their fair share. We want to talk about
okay.
what other fucking government handout there's going to be. Here's the
Hmm.
thing. The United States can't have free healthcare. Why? We're too fat. We spend 25% or it's like 20% maybe of our total GDP on healthcare already. And the majority
All
of
right.
that goes to obesity related issues.
Uh huh.
What do? Oh, we want to teach kids to fucking paint and force them even up to college. Because when I was in college playing football, they made me take a fucking theater class. Okay,
Okay.
which is a waste of fucking time and money. But instead of forcing kids to have an hour PE a day, or forcing kids to learn finance in school, how many people in the black community would be better off when they go to school learning about finance, how to invest their money, learning about
Okay.
money?
Let,
Period.
let me say this. A lot of them will be better off. But what good is teaching finance to children that don't even eat to the degree that they can go to school and sit down and comfortably learn. You that would almost be a slap in the face to some inner city kids. There was a a class that was held about 8 years ago in the state of New Jersey in the inner city of Camden, where they had asked, I think some first graders, I think it was first graders, they had asked them what was the difference between breakfast, lunch, and dinner plans. So they would be holding up eggs and be like, what part of breakfast should this be put in? What group of uh uh would this steak be put in, or what between breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Do you know they was getting it wrong because most of them wasn't even eating healthy, balanced meals?
You're right.
See, understand?
And well, go ahead.
See, that would be teasing inner city kids
Maybe
that
not though,
find that
because think about this. Because it starts somewhere.
okay.
You know what it would do
where
is it would teach
start?
them that the government isn't right
Uh-huh.
about when it comes to finance. That's why they don't do it, first of
Okay.
all, okay? Because people would understand the shit that's going on. Here's what I have
Exactly.
a problem with, okay? And here's my look. This is where going back to the solution of how can you advance not just the black community but lower level poverty stricken communities, okay? One, the government. The government needs to understand, people need to understand that the government has never fucking helped anyone out of poverty. Okay?
Ever.
The only thing the
Well, wait,
government has ever done
hold on,
is
hold on,
make it okay
hold
to
on.
be poor.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. All right. Did you know that in the 1940s that the Jews, the Polish, and the Italian were they weren't considered Americans, and the same
And the
companies
Irish.
that's them too that
Yeah,
said
because I'm
Negroes.
we're almost 100% Irish. Yeah, I know.
Okay, okay. So the same companies that had Negroes need not apply were the
Hmm.
same companies that had Irish, Italian, Jews,
Yep.
and others, Polish, don't apply.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. In the 1940s, they were made white people because every time white people start getting a 0 point, which means that they're not producing as many children as death, then what they do is they make another particular group white to add on. So what they did was they gave the Irish the police department, they gave the Italians the fire department, and they gave Jews the corporate America. So now you're starting to see a whole bunch of people that wasn't even in the loop before start advancing and building wealth. America did bring certain elements out of poverty. Now, what happened was once they got in, they started making them control the numbers of people that they bring into the fold. So you still have
You're
poor
talking
Irish.
about you're
You,
talking about opportunity though, right? I'm talking about directly with money.
no,
All
no,
right.
not opportunity. They were given these things.
I know.
They were
Well,
given. See, they
here's where
didn't. They didn't give us nothing.
so
They
here's where I'm
maybe
getting at with
if
this
they.
though.
Okay, go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
What I'm saying this is you have if you want to argue the systemic part of it, I would argue the systemic part is due to mainly, and this is me because I just can't say it anyway, but taxation, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can
Mm-hmm.
lower taxes all you want, you're still taxing people. You're still taxing the lower class. I've run the study
Okay.
myself, and there's many papers out there you can go read.
Okay.
Raising the upper tax brackets only leads to less tax revenue. If they're talking about taxing the rich, and they're
Uh-huh.
only going to raise the rich tax brackets, they will get less tax revenue. That will, that will. What's that mean?
Uh-huh.
Less tax revenue means less money to provide any
To
kind of
invest
opportunity
into
to lower
business.
class.
And
The
you know
only
what would
way.
happen?
Go
Guess
ahead.
what would happen? Guess what
What?
would happen? If they did that, they would kill two things about the banking system. They'd kill confidence and they'd kill the trust of the banks. So now that means that fewer loans are going out,
Yep.
which means that less business and revenue. All right, understand this. You don't have to just say, well, give black people. Do you know what America could do? America is a country that has 52 states. Am I right? It has
50 states.
52 states. Well,
50.
it has 50, but it has two that it annexed. So it has a region of what could be considered 52 states. So what you could do with America, right, is you could say, okay, since black people make up a 15% of this population, and we don't really want to do what we want to, we don't really want to deal with them effectively. Then what they could do is give us a region. It could be 2.5 states that we could get and we could build up and give us enough revenue like they did for the Jews that could last us 10, 15, 20 years and see what we do with it. And if we fail in building our infrastructure and our little economy, then we could never say racism again. But until you deal with us effectively, it's going to always be like it is now because we always get glossed over. See, they didn't even gloss over illegal immigrants that came in. They're
Which is
talking about
fucking
providing
bullshit.
them with
And I've said this,
$450,000.
which is fucking bullshit. Flat out fucking wrong. Look, I'm not for any kind of, okay, I am not for handouts, but if you're going to offer handouts, it better be to a fucking American.
You
Okay?
know what? You are absolutely right. But let me say this. You might say that you're not for handouts, but had America not reached this handout to the Irish, to the Polish, to the Jews, and to the Italians, then they would still be in the position that we're in. And then you wouldn't be saying that. You would be like, hey, help us. See, we can't get what we got from a handout and then say, don't reach your hand out for nobody else. We can't do that.
So, but I think we have the same idea here, but I think we're looking at it from it's how we're getting there. Okay.
Okay.
Here's where, because I think that what you're looking for and what I think there should be 100% is equality. Okay, equality
Okay.
among opportunities, like going back to the loan thing.
Okay.
First of all, they should never ask for race on a loan, ever. They should never
Well,
ask
they
for
should
race
never
on insurance,
exactly,
anything like
but they
that.
should never, but they should never not provide a loan based on race either.
That's why I'm getting at, because
Okay,
especially
go
right now with
ahead.
technology, you can apply for loans over the computer, and if they don't ask for race, they never know the fuck, if you're white or black or indifferent anyway.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
they would. Oh, yes, they would.
Well,
Because you know
go
why? If
ahead.
they get your social security number, most of the social security numbers for ethnic people, meaning black and brown, their two middle numbers are even. Most of the two middle numbers for whites are odd. So when they get your social security number, they know exactly who you are.
Well, mine's odd and even, so I don't know. I'm not going to speak on
Or,
something I
no,
have
no,
no
no.
knowledge about, so
What
I
I
have no idea
mean
about that.
is the last number of your social security number. If it can't be if it can't be divided in half and be a whole number, then it's odd. Say for instance, your two middle numbers are
Mm-hmm.
56, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
we know that 28 and 28 is 56. You can divide it by two whole numbers. But if your number is 73, then nothing divides into that evenly. That's the odd number.
So, and you're saying white people have odd numbers?
White people have while ethnic people have evens. So they know who you are just by looking at your social security number. Yes, indeed. Now I don't know if everybody white have odd numbers or everybody black have even numbers, but I know the majority do.
But that's I've never ever heard that. Okay, so if I
Oh
sound
yeah,
shy,
I
I've
do.
never heard that. Okay, but what just off the top of my head when I hear that, what I'm thinking is, how can that be if let's say you split into two groups here, right? Oh shit,
Uh,
hold on,
okay.
I gotta plug you back in. Um, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Okay,
you.
sorry, my headphones came out. let's say, there's 70% of the population is white and holds social security numbers. Just based off of how numbers are and the combinations, then it would be too randomized. I don't know if you could really come to that conclusion. And there's no way of a regular population knowing that, because we don't know everyone's social security because it's private for the most part.
Let me say this. All right. Most social security numbers are private, right?
Yes.
Well, all of them, really.
Yes.
Because you're not supposed to tell nobody your social security number. But say, for instance, this is a discussion in a place where let's make two different places, but this is the discussion in both places. It's a discussion where a majority of whites are, and it's a discussion where the majority of blacks are. The majority of whites would not have no problem giving white people not their social security number, but just, is your number out or even? They wouldn't mind sharing that, because I've been in rooms where black people were, and we had that discussion, and going around the room, no matter how many was in there, everybody's number was even. Now, understand this: most people who are putting numbers together put numbers together in a sequential order, so they can know and determine what they're dealing with. Do you know even names let you know whether people are ethnic or white?
Yes.
Location.
Now I do agree with that,
Some
because you
people
have
discriminate, but some people discriminate by zip code, because they say if you're in that region, chances are you're either ethnic or you're white. So they do it by a lot of things. It's a lot of dynamics.
You're right. There is,